Nuwa, architect of humanity, mender of the heavens, the divine sculptor who shaped the essence of life itself and guardian of balance in a world teetering on the brink of cosmic discord. But who was she, and why does her story matter? Welcome to the mysteries of mythology, Nuwa. In ancient China, the goddess Nuwa was considered one of the most important of the deities. Nuwa is considered in Chinese mythology to be the first being that was able to procreate and the creator of all mankind. Ancient Chinese society was fiercely matriarchal, so Nuwa, being the mother of all humans, was considered a very important deity. She was often depicted as having a human face and a long serpentine body. The most famous of her stories was about the creation of humanity and the repair of the heavens. In the first days after the giant Pangu emerged from his mythical egg and created the physical universe, the earth was separated from the heavens and became a wondrous place filled with lush vegetation, vast rivers, tall mountains, and many different animals. One day the goddess Nuwa was exploring the woods among the mountains when she was suddenly overcome by a deep sense of loneliness. She sat by the yellow river to meditate on what she could do to overcome this loneliness. From the banks of the river, she picked up some clay and began to mold it into creatures. At first, she created simple creatures such as chickens and sheep, and though these amused her, they still did not fill the void of loneliness. As she looked into the yellow river, she saw her reflection and was struck with inspiration. If she didn't want to feel alone, the creatures needed to be more like her. She molded the next creatures to have a face like her and gave them arms, hands, and legs. These creatures took more time and care to make, but when she was finished, she created the first human, and she breathed life into it. The first human was intelligent and curious, unlike the other creatures of the earth. It began to dance and talk with her. Excited by the new beings, Nuwa sculpted more humans one by one, breathing new life into them. But with each human she crafted, Nuwa became tired and her hands began to hurt. It was then that she had another idea. From a nearby vine, she took a long branch and dipped it into a different colored mud. With each whip of the vine, tiny droplets of mud flew off, creating more humans. The people made by hand and the people made from droplets from the vine were similar, but not the same. Those made by hand would be nobility, whereas the people made from droplets would be the working class. Satisfied so far with her work, Nuwa watched over her new creations. But as they danced and sang around her, she realized that the humans were mortal, and that without her creating more, they would eventually all die. So she imbued half of the humans with the yin qi and the other half with yang qi. Those with the yin qi became women, and those with the yang qi became men. Now, with the ability to couple and reproduce, Nuwa was able to rest, but that rest would not last. In the early days, the earth was very different. It was just finding its shape, and the sky was held up by 4 giant pillars. During this time, a war broke out between the gods, causing chaos that would ripple across the cosmos. Gong Gong, the water god, with a temper as unpredictable as the seas he commanded, got into a fierce fight with Zhurong, the god of fire, whose flames could warm the world or burn it to ashes. They were fighting over who would be the ultimate ruler of heaven, turning their divine battleground into a place of storms and infernos. In the end, Gong Gong, driven by darker motives, lost. Unable to accept his defeat, he rammed his head against one of the earth's pillars holding up the heavens, Buzhu Mountain. The sky tore open and the earth shook and cracked under the strain. Fires scorched the earth and water poured in from the hole in the heavens where the pillar had been. Nua looked upon the world and saw the suffering of her creations. Seeking to mend what was torn, she approached Ao, the sky turtle, a being as old as time itself, and pleaded for help to save her earthly children. Moved by her determination, Ao made a great sacrifice, offering his legs to support the heavens. Nua gathered 5 different colored stones, each representing a unique element of the celestial, and melted them together. She used the melted stones to patch up the sky, replacing the broken pillars with Ao's legs, all while bearing the weight of the heavens on her shoulders as water continued to pour in over her. There are other versions of what happened to Nua afterward. Some say she was so exhausted from her labors that she lay down and never woke up again. Others say that she realized there wasn't enough stone to completely fix the sky, and in a final act of devotion, used her own body to fill the gap, sacrificing herself to ensure the survival of her creations. In all versions, Nua's love for her creations saved them and restored peace on Earth. Even with her incredible effort, the world couldn't be put back exactly as it was. Nua wasn't able to get the sky and Earth to align exactly the way it had before. The Earth became permanently tilted, which is the reason all of the rivers in China run in a southeastern direction. The story of the people made of clay was not the only version of the creation myth involving Nua. In another venerable tale, we arrive in a world nearly wiped out by a great flood, leaving only Nua and her brother Fuxi alive. By a stroke of fate, they found refuge aboard a boat, narrowly escaping the cataclysm. Confronted with the monumental task of ensuring the continuity of mankind, they grappled with the moral intricacies of their situation, being siblings. In their search for divine clarity, they prayed to the heavens for guidance. They finally agreed that the only way to decide their fate was with a divination test that would answer whether or not they would become husband and wife. Fuxi and Nua scaled separate mountain peaks where they lit 2 fires under the open sky. Their pact was simple. Should the smoke from their fires rise straight into the heavens, then their paths too would remain separate. However, should the smoke intertwine, it would be a cosmic affirmation of their union and the future of humankind. As if moved by an unseen hand, the smoke from their pyres merged, signaling the divine approval for their union. So once brother and sister, they were now husband and wife, the parents of all humankind. The birth of Nua comes in 2 variations. The first is that after the giant Pangu's death, his body turned into rivers, mountains, plants, animals, and everything else in the world, among which was a powerful being known as Huangshu. After stepping into a divine footprint, she became pregnant with Nua and her brother, Fuxi. Some variations believe the footprint was the thunder god, Lei Gong, but this varies by region. In the second variation, Huangshu is envisioned as a fox fairy, wandering the lands and encounters mystical forces that lead to the birth of Nua and Fuxi. What's interesting about Nua is that even though people's views on traditional religious beliefs in China saw big shifts during the Cultural Revolution, Nua is still popular today and is considered a historical figure. You can find many temples dedicated to Nua and her brother Fuxi throughout the Chinese-speaking world. Her most important temple is located in Hebei province and is seen as the ancestral shrine of all humans. Nua isn't just known for being the mother goddess. She can also be found in video games like Arcane Legions, Smite, and Warriors Orochi 2 by Koei. Perhaps you know other places where she can be found. What do you think about Nua? Is there any more you can add to her story? Let me know in the comments. Join me as we explore another video on the mysteries of mythology.